That's going to freak me out.
Okay, we can move it. It's fine.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. That's the photo that's on the back that I think's better than the photo on the front.
Do a little
both
show
of them
and
are
tell
both of them are a bad
Why do you
choice.
think they're bad?
This album got out of control.
In what way?
I wanted to just record my old songs and stick them out there.
Okay.
And then the recordings, we recorded the whole thing in like 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it's. Do you want the story?
Yeah.
It's even sillier than that. I said to my guitarist, my drummer, and my bass player, I said, I'd just like to get together for a couple of days in a rehearsal studio and just jam some of these old songs because I'm thinking maybe I should just record them and put them out.
Yeah.
And my drummer said, "Oh, lol, why don't we do it in Gosford because he lives up on the northern beaches." So I booked a Airbnb, and me and my guitarist and bass player are all going to stay in there. Evan was going to come to the studio. The first day, I said, "Can you guys learn these 5 songs?" Mm-hmm. First day, they're just so good, these guys, Jack and James and Evan. And I went, "What are we going to do?" The second day, and Evan went, "Well, there's a recording studio down the road." And I went, "Let's record them." Mm-hmm. So I went in, and then there were just 3 more days, and we recorded 12 songs or something. Oh. And I thought, I'm just going to put them out on Spotify. So I did some rough mixes, rang BMG, my record company, and said, "Can you guys just facilitate putting these on Spotify?" And they went, "Well, send them to us." And I sent them, and they're like, "This is a record, Tim." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they're all old." And they're like, "But it stands as a record." And then we got into what's the cover going to be, and I still hadn't switched over to this is the next project. It was more, it just felt like it should be tread lightly.
Right.
And so I just used some photos from an old photo shoot, and my friend Neil did the design, and then here we are, and there's this huge thing, and there's thousands of copies being printed, and I'm sort of
amazing.
I kind of like it. I mean, I really like it. I'm really happy that 21-year-old me wrote a song that it's a weird project, right? That 30 years later finally gets to see its...
Yeah. I mean, so when you were going back through the whole recording process and everything, was there any rewriting of the lyrics?
Tiny bits.
Because I haven't noticed much, because obviously some of them I knew from So Fucking Rock and
yes, well, a lot of them have been in the
Dark
world. It's really just a project of making sure there's studio recorded versions, because I just think people who like my music, they put on Rock and Roll Nerd if they like it, and it's like a weird version from an orchestra show where there's laughter through it, and I just think Rock and Roll Nerd is not really a comedy song. It's just a sort of like it could be a Ben Folds song or a Whitlam song
It's funny because it kind of landed that and Dark Side in the middle of like the whole emo pop scene. And
exactly.
And I was, that was my like sort of coming of age music kind of thing.
Yeah,
so I think that maybe that's why I was into your music then.
Because I was sort of mocking what we understood to be the sort of silliness of what... I mean, that's how I got a career, is by noticing I had nothing to say, so saying that.
Yeah. I mean, I always like that as the thing, because I think you said before, like the average middle-class rock star will kind of like create or invent reasons why they're like miserable, and then that's something to write about.
It's a toxic idea, but it's very pervasive. I mean, and not just rock stars, but a bloke from a certain background of a certain age with a certain look will notice that the girls like complexity and brooding. That's that dark side. Like, I need someone with a little third dimension, and they'll lean into that, and then of course cut forward 30 years, and here we are with everyone like trauma advertising because they want to be seen as someone with pain as well. I mean, it's very human. I've done it myself. I'm going to lead with some of my pain because I don't want you to think I'm all fine.
You said, I think it was like a Pandora's box of like unpacking stuff.
Yeah.
Was it weird? Were there like lyrics that you kind of hadn't looked at in a bit?
Well, I think I've come to understand that I'm a step removed from my own emotions a lot of the time just by neurological design. Like I can observe. I really, really like writing songs and TV shows and art because I find people unbelievably beautiful, and I think I can tap into humans. But I think that's partly because I'm observing myself as well. Like which is all just to say this hasn't been an emotional journey. I'm like, oh, there's some songs. Is that one good? Yep. And look, I don't really want to revisit Rock and Roll Nerd or Dark Side. I don't. I really love playing them live because they're a hoot.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that person anymore. However, I do want there to exist in the world a cracking version with great maracas in the final chorus and really cool silly harmonies.
Yeah.
And I added harmonies, and to the silly songs I added silliness.
Well, I like that, there's still like that Staying Alive, but like it's subtle.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it's nice. It's like a
Pushes
nice touch.
in.
And yeah, I think like the whole kind of production and everything, it is just like a really cool, like full version of a song that, yeah, like maybe people have known for a little bit, but it feels like a different iteration of it or something.
Yeah, and iteration's the perfect word, because I've had a very iterative career because I'm a live guy. And so for me, songs are always, I say it when I'm on stage these days, I'm like, I never play anything the same twice. I don't really know how to. Every time I perform a song, it is today's iteration. They're not very different, but it's always choices. And it's kind of weird to lock them in amber, given that they've spent 20 years just becoming different things. I used to do a version of Dark Side at festivals that would go into a country section. You know, they've always been open. Yeah. And Dark Side used to be 11 minutes long, and now it's 3.5. But I mean,
I would have, like when you could do a Taylor Swift and like release the 10-minute version.
Totally, it's all available. But all those versions are out there, and people have their favourite version of Nerd and their favourite version. But the Dark Side that people like is the solo one from Ready for This, where it goes for 11 minutes and go tiddly tiddly tiddly. But I'm more interested in this. In this album, I'm reasonably interested in the songs that were on my unreleased but still out in the world Timmy the Dog album of 2001. Especially things like Moment of Bliss, which is a quite grown-up song to have written at 20. That's actually the oldest song on the record, and I'm curious about that guy. I'm like, I didn't think at that age I was there yet, but somehow I was. And then there's songs like Ruby, which were written in my late 30s, which I think is proof that around that time I wasn't unable to write a banger.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my natural state, but there it is as evidence. That's a good song. You know, I can hear its influences a bit. It's a bit unoriginal for my taste. I really like my songs that are like,
Ruby,
that's not like any. Ruby, I can just hear the influences of Folds, and I really like songs like, you know, from Apart Together, like Lonely Tonight or Apart Together itself, that to me just don't sound like anyone else, and that's where I take my pride, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I mean, just like lyrically, I think I'm sort of like drawn to the way you kind of write about things like romance and love, because it's a very like specific way. And I think the thing is, like, one of my biggest bugbears that I'm always like wanging on about with contemporary pop music is everything's really generic. I feel bad because I'm always using Ed Sheeran as like the prime example, but one of the old review I did of his second to last album was very much like you could build a Frankenstein's monster out of, you know, all of his songs and like the number of times he said like a body part as opposed to like a facet of someone's personality or something.
But Ed, so I think Ed's brilliant.
I know you've like done
absolutely, yeah, sort of. I just spotted him when he was very young, and he used to go on before me. There was a year there where he was on before me at a few festivals.
You could have done Prejudice a couple of
times. He did come and do Prejudice after he just took off. He came back and I think he's one of the most brilliant singer-songwriter. His voice is insane. His musicality is time. He's a beautiful guy. But he got hit singles and got plugged into a world where the goal was to write another hit single.
Yeah.
So Ed has put all his genius and power into trying to write songs that are hits and for other people, and Bieber. And I mean that, Why Don't You Go Love Yourself? Whatever. No, that's not. How's
Love
it
Yourself.
Go? Yeah.
If you,
that's
that's
a Sheeran song, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is undeniable. I think that's an amazing song.
I agree.
And other than that, I think Castle on a Hill is his great work, which he wrote at frickin' 18 or something.
Something like that.
But I don't think it's as Frankenstein-y as Max Martin, who is also a genius, but he's a production house. But it's literally feed in AI to AI, just 5 Max Martin songs or 3, and you no longer need humans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure AI would necessarily nail Ed as well if you threw in everything. And I think even though I will never be either of those gentlemen, or Taylor or Billy or Olivia Rodriguez, who I think are amazing writers, but I just don't think AI would get.
No, I don't think
would
so
be
either.
able to do.
I'd come up with a song like White Wine in the Sun,
or
yes, or Lonely Tonight.
Yes, I don't think so, because it would get it. I mean, but I think I'm allowing myself for that to be where my pride is, because I've never had a single on the radio, and I will never, get synced for a movie, and I will never play. Well, I do fine, obviously.
Would you like to hear your songs on the radio?
I don't mind now. I did, of course I wanted to.
Yeah.
But also, did I do anything to, not perfect. And, Ruby is a perfect pop song, and then halfway through, just at the end, when I'm almost home, I say, "You're so fucking loved." I almost deliberately stop my songs being radio playable. I don't mean to, but I just like...
But that's what I mean. There's kind of almost a self-conscious thing, and I think in a lot of your songwriting that makes it not suitable for radio, and that's not a bad thing at all.
Well, they're often 5-6 minutes long as well, which of course...
Yeah, that too. I think, but more about they don't, like what we were saying about the eye thing, they don't conform to kind of what the sort of algorithm is after, which is again, sort of,
I'm not even a huge fan of choruses. They have choruses and hook lines. They land...
But you don't do the typical song structure really ever, I don't think.
Very rarely, and that's not deliberate. It's just where I'm not trying to emulate anyone. There's no consciousness. It's just I write. I really like making sure the listener if they ever think they've got the sum of the song, if they ever think, "Oh, I know this," I want to give them something else. There's a key change, or there's some sort of denouement, and the songs I'm proudest of, "Lonely Tonight," "If This Plane Goes Down," that are the grown-up songs. They're not the songs that everyone... It's not Prejudice, which is one of my least favourite songs, but
really?
They're the ones where I go, that takes you on a journey. It's melodically and harmonically interesting, and if you heard it, it's unlikely you'd mistake it for someone else's song.
Yeah. Lonely Tonight was pretty divisive when you put it out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I made a
You got
an
either-or kind of reaction, though.
Did I? Yeah. I don't know because I don't read comments, but I do.
I think you were saying though, people would, fans would come up to you and sometimes they'd be like, this made me cry, but then the other side they were kind of a bit sarky of oh, you want to pat on the back, which was interesting because I think the ones that were saying oh, you want to pat on the back, it's almost like you're kind of saying women never have that feeling.
Well, what's really interesting about Lonely, so for listeners who don't know the song, it's a sort of, I call it monogamy by the fingernails song. It's about being out in New York in my head and spending an evening with someone and getting that, oh my God, this, I want to be with this person, I want to have sex with this person, and you're drunk enough and the buzz is on and it's all happening, and I have a partner, I've been with the same person my whole life, and I just wanted to unpack that feeling, and it ends with him not acting on it, and there's a sort of orgasmic ending at the end, a sort of ironically orgasmic release from having not made the mistake.
What was it? Pringles and...
Only the wrappers of Pringles and Snickers for which to atone. Yeah. For which to atone, even grammatically, that's not a pop lyric, but it's one of my favourite lyrics I've written. But yes, I made a bit of a meal of it because I found it funny, but some women said, "What do you want, a round of applause for not cheating on your wife?" And it's no, I want a human experience that is very common to be reflected in art instead of, back to your point, this generic Frankensteining of these are the things we say about love, none of which are true, none of which get into anything really. They're just there to, when you're having your first love, to have a pop song that feels a bit like it so that you can remember.
Well, it's like making it generic so as to be, universally relatable.
Yeah, the four-quadrant song,
But Lonely Tonight, I feel is universally relatable because, I think there's this, but unfortunately, I think there's this weird taboo where it's not the done thing where you can't admit you're attracted to other people just by dint of being in a relationship, which is insane because it's just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean suddenly this switch goes off in your brain and
it's terrible.
You'll never find anyone else attractive.
And those traditions are always terrible for women. Yeah. So the idea that a man should pretend he's not attracted to other women, and which allows him to control his partner because she has to pretend, and then if she ever makes him jealous, he has justification. It's all dark. It's all bullshit. Yeah.
And also we've seen in rock stars not that long ago, the ones that tend to have the whole good guy persona, inevitably and it's then the public reaction is more fierce because they act like it's this huge disappointment because he was such a good guy and all this stuff. But also that's so naive because I reckon if I got caught cheating I would get a big backlash because I present as monogamy guy, but I'm just listen to Lonely Tonight.
This guy is so relieved he didn't cheat.
Yeah.
Doesn't that imply he's known the other feeling? Like that's not that's not what I have very deliberately written a song that is not just about me. It's not about one night. It's not about one woman. I've observed.
Well, because you referred to like him in the third person as well. So
yeah, that's right. Like all my songs are about the craft, but I have definitely had nights like that. But I don't think the song implies that character has never cheated. It's not a song about purity.
Well, no, because it's
a song
like
about
in this
humanity.
Instance, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it's I'll take lonely tonight. It doesn't necessarily apply to
totally.
Like,
and also I got the other sort of criticism, just because I find it interesting, is I had a friend who's like, I like it, but I don't like the femme fatale references. So I go into this middle eight, which talks about Odysseus and the sirens, and I'm deliberately leaning into the myth of the femme fatale because I studied feminist literature at uni, so this is the stuff I was bathed in.
Did you watch the series Netflix?
No,
Sirens.
Oh no! The Milly Alcock thing.
Yes. Well, yeah, because you were in like
Milly.
Yeah, she's fucking incredible. Like I'm obsessed with that show.
Okay, I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch it because
it's really good.
Milly said, "Oh yeah, watch it," but she didn't.
Very like blasé kind of like.
Yeah, because she's always like that.
Oh my god, it's just honestly like it taps into everything. I'm kind of because I did like Greek mythology at uni and I'm obsessed with it. And, like,
we're gonna have a 2 hours now.
Yeah, I know.
On those myths.
PR waiting outside.
But it's funny, right?
But yeah, it's just the thing of like but the brilliant thing, and I don't want to like spoil it, but it's that it so taps into that myth in like a modern context, so it's still a thing, like where the woman is the one that seduces and the man is like the hapless kind of thing. And it's like super condescending because it removes the man of any like autonomy, and it's like
your unpacking is absolutely perfect. But I always think it's interesting, we're 40 years since second wave feminism said the femme fatale myth is toxic or whatever, and that becomes the new doctrine that which removes the nuance of the fact that their temptation, Lonely Tonight's a song about temptation, and I deliberately reference those myths kind of to say I always sing it very dramatically. The whole song for me is about the domestic pedestrianness of temptation, Pringles wrappers, and it's sort of I'll fall asleep on my phone.
Yeah.
It's just human stuff. But also there's a reason why temptation has been codified in endless myth, because the feeling as a man of being sexually attracted to a woman in that moment is the most this is the bit I want to say in art, is like it's not simple, right? No, you're absolutely right. The idea that a woman is a temptress who takes a man can't possibly help himself is toxic, but not understanding that feeling is transcendent.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest feelings I've ever had in my life is wanting to sleep with someone I've got a crush on. There's a reason that's what the poets have written about. So I wanted to take it out there and then bring it right back to rappers, because it's both. It is both the most pedestrian, quotidian, human thing to want to shag someone, and it is the ships have been crashed. Empires have fallen for our inability to control these feelings. So I was trying to play in that field.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah. And then like it's funny because Gen Z have suddenly seemingly cottoned onto this word limerence, which I didn't know was a thing through my 20s, and realised like loads of my situations that I got myself into are probably that.
Tell me about limerence.
Basically, it seems to suddenly be like creeping into common parlance.
I love it when people go, we always knew
it's
this.
It's like, there is a word for that. There's this amazing musician called Jacob Allon, up-and-coming Scottish singer-songwriter. Yes. And their whole album is called Limerence, and it's about this chemistry and this like punch in the gut of when you see someone or when you're with someone to the point you become obsessed with them that you put them on like a pedestal. And so then it's almost like not real. Yeah. And you're kind of, it's that. It's kind of like this.
We poetize ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, limerence, yes. I'm trying to think. It's almost like it was a book or something as well. I mean, that's art, right? Art is, back to pop songs. We can be really wanky here, but I want to be, because with AI and stuff, I'm really engaged then in a way that I've always slightly been like, ugh, stop talking about art. That's a conversation for people who don't make it. And not that I think that, but I think I am incredibly interested in what has value now that robots all of a sudden can make amazing music and write novels and write a banging bodice ripper. Like what matters. And so is art just meant to be a soundtrack, a 4-quadrant soundtrack to every kid's, this is like, what's the banger of the summer? I'm just like, I've never been interested in listening to what everyone else is listening to. That's a personality trait. I'm just like, if everyone's listening to it, I want to listen. Not to yuck.
I'm like that with TV shows.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
It's just this kind of innate stubbornness, I think, of like, because you want to form your own opinion though. So the problem is if like everyone's kind of saying like, this is amazing, I think there's something in me that's like, well,
okay, you've done that. You've
listened to it in 3 years and let you know.
And it's terrible. It's not a glorious instinct to be sort of anti-popular. And I hate that kind of like Coldplay's. I'm like, oh, go away. Coldplay's amazing. like it's all good. It's just I have a bit of a, I don't know, second child thing. It's like I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. Yeah, right there it is.
Are you a middle child or like?
I was for a long time. Then there was a fourth.
Okay. Yeah. God.
Yeah.
Like
it was so predictable.
So cliche.
Easy. Yeah. Like you've got. Yeah. Is art a 4-quadrant backdrop to the most broad human experience? Is it to elevate, as it has been through the Romantic period? Art was all through Christian art, which the Christian narratives dominated. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Is it to elevate, to make the tawdry experience of being human feel bigger, or is it to do the opposite? Is to Tracy Emin tampon on a bed. This is human.
You know, it was brilliant. I was just in Florence, and there was the new Tracy Emin exhibition, Sex and Solitude, at the same time. I'm like wandering around the Uffizi Gallery, looking at like Hieronymus Bosch and like. Ian
McEwan writes beautifully in Lessons this fantastic little diatribe that he puts into the mouth of his protagonist, but it feels very Ian.
Yeah.
That's like talking about the entirety of Christian art as kitsch, which is so, because it's all this,
you're
just like
it's
gaudy,
all, everything's gold plated,
the same story painted. So that all this Da Vinci's Sistine Chapel, you're like, that was genius manifest. Well, it was, but it was genius pressed into painting the same frickin' thing for hundreds of years. So all the great artists of the 15th to 20th century were shackled by an obligation because someone had paid them to paint yet again Mary with the baby and the thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Transcendence, like trying to help people escape with art or trying to, and it's all of it is the answer, right? It's all good.
Yeah. One of my favourite things is Renaissance babies, though.
Oh my god!
Oh
my god!
They've all got really muscly torsos
heads,
and they creep me out.
I mean, I find the whole kind of sexy Mary. I mean, she's always sort of perfectly
with,
beautiful.
That ice cream scoop.
Yeah,
breast, just
lovely boobs and then Jesus, of course, hot and suffering. I mean, so that comes back to Dark Side, right? We have a pervasive thing, and especially in British culture, we want to put icons on pedestals and then we want to watch them bleed and we want to watch them fall for our sins. I reckon we do it over and over again in the British press. We and press and gossip. We want them up there, but then we think if they fall, if they are horribly human, if they've done something wrong in their past, we are. It's like we're redoing the Christ myth, which of course predates the Christ myth, again and again and again. They've fallen, so we're our sins we're washed clean. It's right.
This is why, like, kind of just going back to like the Lonely Tonight thing. I think I find the whole kind of the weird hand-wringing reactions, and like whenever someone famous like has an affair or something, like do you know what I mean, like the Coldplay, talking of Coldplay, like the whole CEO thing, like
I just
say alleged. But whatever. But just
that.
But just the reaction to that is insane to me, because it's like, so everyone saying like fire them or whatever, or like the mockery and everything. It's like, you've never cheated ever, none of you.
Well, it's just none of your business.
Well, that too.
What disturbs me so much.
I mean, I would think slightly when you go to like a box in an 80,000 person stadium.
Still none of anyone's business. I mean. this idea that because someone's got famous for being an artist, the public own them is. I mean, I'm not famous. You know, I'm known for my work. No one has ever been interested.
The definition of what people would say famous is.
Yeah, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not.
No
one's interested in my clothes, my wife, my children, my house, my car, because I basically because I have never been single and I'm not handsome enough. If I was hot and single, of course it would be different. And also because I'm this person, I want to talk about mythos and you know, so I mean, they want me to fall. I mean, people want me to fall. I've had all the public shaming and I've had the pile-ons and stuff, but I feel very strongly that the exchange is I make art and promote it, you consume it, and then off you all fuck and off I fuck, and we just leave each other alone. And it's amazing how often even journalists I hear go, well, they wanted, you know, they put themselves out there. I'm like, they put themselves out there to sell their TV show. They said, those are the photos you're allowed to have. You got the photos and you got the promo and you sold your magazine. It's over. Deal's over. The idea that we therefore own the rest of their lives is just toxic, but I mean, it's no fighting that. It's
interesting. There's I think there was a piece recently, there's a whole new generation of like younger pop stars who are quite openly kind of admitting to wanting to be famous again.
It's freaking tragic. But that's all right. I understand wanting fame. I'm not sure if it was my driving force, but I certainly... I mean, it's very...
Rock and Roll Nerd you wrote when you were, what, 20?
Yeah. Oh, no, 27, 28.
27, okay.
But also I was taking the piss out of people like me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I was... Yes, that's... Oh, sorry, yeah. And I was always a theatre nerd. And I guess I wanted recognition.
Yeah. There was a picture on I was perusing your Instagram before this chat, and there was a certain picture on there that you were kind of mocking. You were like, I'm going to get ripped to shit.
Oh, my with my tits out. The lights did me a favour. Okay. I mean, I've done a lot of work for my own reasons.
It just made me laugh because I think some of your fans were kind of putting in the comments about like, well, now you do look. Was it you do look good with your t-shirt?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There was a really funny comment that I saw. I don't know why I was looking at. I fell off the wagon a couple of weeks ago.
Because you were like not on the socials.
I am not.
Do you get other people to post for you?
Yes. I've got. Right. It's incredibly. It's a whole thing. So I take the photos, or I get my band to take the photos, and I write the copy, and my team goes, "Have you got a photo of Nottingham?" I'm like, "Yeah." Copy. I write the copy on a WhatsApp thread. They post it at a certain time. It's a whole thing. It's a nightmare. It'd be much quicker for me to do it, but I can't.
Because then you're like on
then
the
I'm reading and it's just so poisonous, and there's a whole conversation there. But I did fall off the wagon the other day. I don't know my passwords to Twitter, or I've been off Twitter since Brexit. That got me off Twitter. But I don't know my Instagram password. I don't know my TikTok or anything. But I do still have access to Facebook for my personal one, and I switched over to my public one and started reading. And it's literally like falling off the wagon. An hour and a half had gone by, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't do this anymore. Of course, it's because it's all love, so it's addictive.
So, yeah. But, I mean, that's, I guess, the trap, isn't it? Like, because you get used to the love, and then there's, like, going to be one comment or inevitably whatever.
But even the love is no good. I mean, again, the exchange, they bought tickets to my concert. I worked my guts out on stage. I pride myself in never being anywhere near phoning it in. I'm dedicated to the live thing. And they stand up at the end and clap, and I bow. And then I go an encore, and they stand up again, and I bow again, and I walk off. And it's over, and in that case, I'm saying to me it's over, mate. You don't need to go online and get another big hit of love from them. Going, you're done. You've got your clap.
Because it is an addiction, right?
Like, it's absolutely. There's no bottom to a second child's need to be told they're special. There's no end.
That felt personal.
You are amazing. You are enough. I love you.
Thank you so much.
Move onwards from this moment.
The validation I needed. Yeah, it's good.
No,
I got off Twitter. I mean, too late probably, but it was almost like a stubbornness because it was whenever I wrote something negative about a musician with a rabid fan base, they would come at me.
Of course.
And there's like a thing of like, sometimes you could make someone apologize. So like the thing is, for me, it was like if I can get like a couple of people to apologize, then
that is that's addictive when you could say, you know, can't we be better than this? And I remember
because this is a big thing for you, right? With the social media, this is the problem: is that it's very like binary of like it's an either or. There's one side and one side, and then no one communicates.
This is why I started my career saying everything sacred is fair game. And I'm not so much like that now, but I do think that's the job of comedy and satire, is going, you might, think you're not allowed to draw Muhammad, but that doesn't mean everyone else has to think that, just to go to a very, very hot version. But because everyone thinks their sacred thing should be sacred and other people's sacred things. So it has to be no one's sacred thing is sacred.
I think that's the thing. I've never set out to rip something apart for the sake of ripping it apart. Yes, negative reviews are fun to write sometimes.
I know it's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's always a case of generally coming from this place of this is really bad and it's literally my job to write about this, and I'm not asked to write about it.
It's really hard. I've famously been bad with criticism, which is interesting because I think, although I stopped reading years ago and I don't read anything, good or bad, I think, and it's just I just couldn't get okay with it. I couldn't go on stage with someone's criticism in my head, and my job requires me to suspend my disbelief, to put away human Tim, who thinks his songs are okay but doesn't think he's enough, who hates his own voice, who doesn't like his body, and he gets left behind. And I go on stage kind of pretending I'm amazing. And it allows me to be really good at my job. That someone who's written something in a paper that 100,000 people have read that says any bit of my show is weaker, I get to that bit in the show and I can't do my job as well because I'm thinking about someone's opinion of me. So for me, I had to stop.
Yeah.
And yet the other sort of silly thing about my sensitivity to criticism, or maybe part of it is, I've done, over the 20 years I've been properly in the public eye, I think I've been incredibly well treated by critics. With some marked exceptions, because my intellectual brain thinks criticism's really important, and good critics are a dying breed because everyone's a freaking critic. So they don't know what the job of criticism is on their blog post.
Well, you get a lot of people that come in and they're fans, essentially, and I understand they want to be close to their idols and everything, and their sole mission is to get to speak to their idol, but then it's kind of at the sacrifice of telling the story. So.
Arts criticism is very, very hard because there's such high levels of subjectivity in art. But everyone says that as if there's no way to tell a good opera from a bad opera, or a good singer from a bad singer, or a good comedian. Of course, once you've watched a lot of art, you can see a really good thing from a really bad thing, and it's worth discussing. The only thing that I've worked really hard to try and do that is difficult in a critical environment is to change my own terms of engagement. So when I get written about by a critic as this show failed as a comedy show, when I've explicitly said this is not a comedy show, that's when I'm you have to judge it on its own terms.
Well, because this has been the thing I think I've seen you, politely nudging interviewers towards in previous chats, which is that this is an album.
Yeah.
And the songs are songs. It's not comedy.
Yeah.
And it was strange, I know you don't read reviews, and I hope you don't mind me kind of slightly quoting one, but it was interesting reading a review of this record that said one of the funny songs and then going for Grew on Me, because to me that's one of the most romantic songs of all time. It's in a kind of Cole Porter way, let's do it, let's fall in love kind of vibe. So yeah.
So many of my songs are more like jazz standards.
Yeah.
Lonely Tonight's a jazz standard with a swing take now, I like that you noticed that. And I've got various categories of songs. Some start funny and grow sad, like You Grew on Me, or White Wine in the Sun starts at a satirical of Christmas. And then there's others that start serious and break and go funny. And then there's, everything in between. I think I'm there, by the way. Maybe it's because I don't read. I feel like I've done it. I feel like I've done the impossible, which is get known as a comedian and transcend the label. But it's unbelievable how often, it's not unbelievable, it is sobering how often someone's like, well, as a comedian, and I'm literally sitting here talking about the 15th anniversary of, if you'll excuse the hubris, the most successful British musical of this century, which I didn't just compose but wrote the lyrics for. How am I a comedian? But what? And then the question: what's wrong with being a comedian? It's sort of ego, but it's not. It's I set about to try and be, as it says on my bracelet, unpigeonholable, and I feel like I'm going to let go now. I hope I expressed this enough because it's genuine. I just can't believe what I've got to do. There's no complaints from me about how I'm treated, apart from the howling masses if if I say something wrong or whatever. But that's not representative. That's just algorithms. I mean, I have had. There is no career I would rather have on the planet. It is an extraordinary thing that I've got to do, all these different things. And I can't police people's view of me. So I'm not really frustrated. I just, and what's wonderful is I've just done 33 dates around the UK, an average of 3,000 people a night. At no point when I'm in the room, when I go turn the corner from The Good Book to Lonely Tonight, to Apart Together, to Peace, my new song, which is just dead quiet and dead silent. I have no sense that I'm losing them or that they are discombobulated. In fact, quite the opposite. I feel like I've created an audience for myself that will come absolutely anywhere. I mean, I break into Superstar in the middle of a swing tune from 1997. It's just
it's great,
joyous.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't try and police how I'm referred to.
I mean, if anything, I think the way you've done it is kind of perfect, because also live music, I don't know, it's where it's at now anyway. You make fuck all money from streaming, do you? So.
Yeah. Live is God, and I've always been a live guy. And by the way, I try to make myself not a comedian, but if you come and see my shows, I'm making everyone laugh all the time because I don't know how to be anything else.
But then so does Lewis Capaldi, but he doesn't get labelled a comedian.
Right?
But you say you don't tend to listen to kind of I guess what pop chart stuff is. What are you listening to at the moment?
Oh, I don't listen to music.
Ever?
Very,
you don't have
literal.
go-tos older stuff that you just listen to, like comfort music?
So with no pride, in fact quite a lot of shame, I don't listen to music very much at all. So when I run, I sometimes listen to podcasts, but mostly I listen to my incessant internal platonic dialogue with myself. No, I sort my thoughts out, and I think about projects, and when I run, I don't like music on in the car. I'm not in the car very often. I like jazz in the evening because I can let it go. If I'm listening to Thelonious Monk or The Bird, and they're playing bebop, that's and I'm like, well, this is beyond me, and I love it, and I'm happy because I'm not going, oh, really? 1, 6, 4, 5 again? Good chord. Do
you feel like because you're coming at it from? Is it just the way your brain works with you can't switch off?
Because I'm a bit competitive.
Right.
It might be because my brain either goes, oh, I wish I'd written that song. That's amazing, or it goes, this is crap. Why is this on the charts?
I would have improved
that's
it
not
by
fair
this.
on myself. I'm not that. My brain goes to, is that a good lyric? That's a terrible lyric. How do you get away with that lyric? Or is this just the same 4 chords as the last 10 top?
Because you're never not analysing it, basically. So it's
that's pathetic, isn't it?
No,
it's not that I'm not. It's just my brain.
Because you've got others.
It.
It's like some people don't watch movies. I guess it's
well,
interesting.
It's when you read another critic's review of music, you're not just reading the review. You're reviewing the review. You're wondering how good they are at their job. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I think I've interrupted you like a billion times. It's
like a conversation. It's perfect. But that's an exaggeration. I find music a bit stressful, and the idea of putting music on in the morning. I sometimes I'm going to listen to music this morning, and I go, oh God, I can't listen to that. Oh God, I can't listen to that. And it's not bad music. I just can't find the thing that doesn't grate against me. I find it very hard to find music that doesn't feel dissonant against whatever.
Yeah.
I really like quiet. And I really like jazz, but I'm not like a connoisseur. I would rather die than hear a bar of myself. And literally when I'm doing a TV show and they play, we're going to play a bit of this song, I just go, what's weird, and maybe this is boring, but I find seeing photos of myself.
I like that you looked over at that because I hate that. That's a really old picture my brother took. No.
But I don't like the mirror. I don't like images of myself. But I've got.
Do you have body dysmorphia?
No, let's not claim.
Okay.
It's in a few of my songs. I sometimes see myself in the mirror one day after another, and I see something something goes wrong where I can be like, oh, totally fine. I'm obviously healthy and fit and I'm blessed. And the next day I'm like, I can't bear it, you know. So some tiny taste of what it might be like to have body dysmorphia. But I interestingly, and there's times when I don't mind my voice. I certainly think it's a good storytelling device on stage. I'm very happy to hold an audience in one of my songs. But I can't listen to my own music. But watching myself on Upright, watching me dissemble and all angles and all lights on a TV show, I quite like it. I'm like, look at me go.
That's interesting.
So weird.
Is it because you're playing someone else?
I think maybe it's that.
And then, like, if you're singing, you watch. Well, yeah, that maybe as well. But like, if you're, I mean, you're
that's
listening
right.
to
It's
lyrics.
the most
that are
vulnerable thing.
Yeah, like it's the most vulnerable position you're ever in. Is like, you know, standing or sitting or whatever, being at the piano, like singing.
That will be
lyrics.
it. Yeah, that
then,
will be it.
Versus if you're playing someone else, I feel like that's.
Yeah. Look,
it's not you.
Yeah.
So,
Very interesting. Yeah. Interesting to if you're a narcissist. That's interesting. Yeah.
I need to watch Upright because I didn't. It was what I said before. Like, I'm really bad with watching TV anyway.
If you watch Sirens and liked it, even out of curiosity of how good Milly already was at 19, but also Upright's my great. Like, if no one bought this record, I'd be like, oh, it's all right. They're just, it's an offer. It's for anyone who wants to listen to those songs, fine. I won't spend the next year going, oh, have you heard Time Machine? I won't, after I've done this press, I will never mention it again.
Right.
Not that I'm proud of it, but it will go. If you want to come to one of my shows because you like what I do, that's great. I'm really like where I've got to with live performance. I'm a good live guy. You know, you'll turn your phones off and you'll be in the moment, and you won't go out going, oh, that was like the gig I saw last week.
Yeah.
Plenty of pride in my work, plenty of non-pride in my work. Upright's the one where I'm like, no, you will watch it. You will. I promise you, it's better than you think.
I mean, I really like the premise of just what is it like? You're transporting a upright piano, like across country kind of thing.
I love it so much because you don't really know why.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because the story unfolds and the backstory unfolds, and then you watch season 1 and you think that was good, and then I'll make you watch season 2 after that. But Milly is.
She's just magnetic on screen. She's just got this kind of like. I mean, I was very into like House of the Dragon and stuff, which was her.
Oh my god! And that actress who replaced her, I was like, oh, you have to follow this. You have to be this good.
Right.
I mean, she is. I'm incredibly fond of Mill, and no 19-year-old girl has ever been handed a script that. I mean, she is incredibly good. You've got to watch it. I mean, it's a gift.
Yeah.
For a kid as talented as that, she got to sit in a huge range of emotions in that show. And in the second season, I sort of wrote it for her because I wanted to be like, please come back, you know, and gave her more challenges. But have you seen Superman? This ridiculous new Superman that's just come out. I mean,
I can't keep up with all the.
No, and I've given up on all of it. I mean, I'm a sort of Joss Whedon era lover of Avengers and stuff. I mean, I was never a comic book guy, but I went to watch the Superman because Milly is Supergirl now, and she turns up in the last. She literally is on screen for 30 seconds. And Milly it's the best 30 seconds in the film. I mean, I'm massively biased, but it's so fun. And then she's gone. And she's just she's so much like, in that 30 seconds, Supergirl is like,
so is she going to get her own film?
It's already filmed.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
this is how, it's kind of like,
oh, how do you
with
keep
pop
up
music,
with it?
But it's exhausting. And also there's this, I mean, actually it does happen in music now where there's this kind of insistence on like, you have to have the the kind of meta references to everything, and it feels like a Marvel film in itself, or like a Marvel franchise in itself.
Pop culture on top of itself.
Yeah, and it's like if you're just going in as like a casual fan who like thinks, oh, I've heard a lot about this person, maybe I should listen to them, and then you feel like, oh, I need to delve into like the past 7 albums just to understand what this one's about. To understand
why Drake is still talking about, you know, like what.
God.
So here's the problem, and this is just 50-year-old man talking about how the way we consume media is culture destroying. So it's boring as fuck. But we live in a world where the memification of people's understanding of the most complex geopolitical things in the world are basically memes.
Yeah.
Like 20 seconds here and there, a poster, someone being furious, a lot of trauma, and that for them that's as far as they've gone.
Well, it took 20 seconds before they were recreating the CEO thing on Jumbotron.
Right. I mean, that's psychopathic, that behaviour. Like to have no feelings for those two people, to go, what we should do collectively now is take two people who yesterday at worst were having an affair that's none of your business and make them world famous because we want a little bit of attention on social media. I find it utterly disgusting. Every single person who reposted a meme of those people should have a fucking hard look at. I just cannot believe we're so psychopathic, says a guy who has written a song about Cardinal Pell, But
I mean, yeah,
with intent.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's no intention in it. People just don't think they're human. They're just a meme. They're just fodder.
The thing
right?
is I don't know. It's like weird to because I struggle sometimes. Yeah, I was talking about before about stones in glass houses, as if like none of these people have ever had an affair. But I feel like media and social media and everything and society in general kind of actively encourages that behaviour. Because it's
this is public shaming. No one thinks, maybe I shouldn't shame this human because they're a fellow human. But that doesn't come through their head.
But it's the same with outrage on social media. Like whenever someone gets outraged, and this is kind of one of the reasons I got so tired of Twitter, I think, is because it felt like people were preempting outrage happening. So they would say something reactive because they thought everyone else was going to be reacting to it.
So that's a poison. Bye.
Bye.
So there's a but the thing about pop culture being
it's the back.
Eating itself is everyone consumes little bits of stuff, and everyone is meant to understand the same stuff, and so pop culture becomes meta. It becomes reflecting pop culture, and then reflecting the reflective pop culture, and I guess the thing is that rises up, and all these people will react against it. So it will self-repair. Because people will realise there's no Janis Joplin anymore. But I saw Jade Bird yesterday.
Oh, I love her.
And and I'm like, there's someone who listens to some Janis Joplin.
Nice,
so they're coming. Cool. The kids are coming.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think, as I said, am I saying the right name? Olivia Rodriguez? Is that
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo.
Yeah.
My daughter, I only listen to what my kids listen to in the car when we're going down the coast or whatever. And I go, okay, play me some music. And I mean, I think there are great songwriters. There are people who are pop who aren't being too self-referential, but we're just eating ourselves. It's like a cycle, or a Ouroboros of culture, where we're just eating our own tails. And it's to an old boy like me, it's just boring. It's not saying anything about what it is to be human outside of pop culture, and I've just never been interested in pop culture. I just don't care about celebrities. I don't care about clothes. I don't care about cars, and it's just I brought up in the 90s in Perth. I'm a grunge era kid. It's like selling out is the worst thing you could possibly do. And,
I know you don't I don't think you grew up on him or anything, but Tom Lehrer
died yesterday.
Yeah, but I was just kind of it was interesting the fact that this interview is today and then that's happened.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a lot of his stuff, and then he had was it Vatican Rag?
Yeah.
Which is fucking brilliant. And that made, I was listening then to your Pope song.
Yeah, wow.
And just feel like there's a bit of a lineage there of, and his satire, because this is the thing, he's, I think he's like Cole Porter in that people kind of laugh at his songs, and he's got kind of gags and stuff in there, but it's still music. It's
proper
still an
you'd
still put
virtuosic and saying
he's
something
incredible
about the
piano
world.
player, and an incredible lyricist, so witty, and so I kind of see your music in a bit that kind of lineage of the satire, or you're just injecting a lot of your personality into the lyrics.
Totally, and I'd love to be seen as an inheritor of a Tom Lehrer style thing. It just happens I hadn't really heard of it, but it is, there's I mean, my line, by the way, is it's all the same, because I grew up with a pianola in my house with lots of Gilbert and Sullivan and stuff. So Lehrer comes through that tradition, the end of Pier, burlesque,
what's his
piano
masochism
bar, masochism tango, poisoning pigeons in the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dark and funny and parodic. Yeah, he wasn't allowed to come to Australia.
No?
Well, at some point, when I was writing edgier stuff, and I'd get, people trying to sue me for hate speech and with the religious stuff, and people going, you don't need to swear. Like, why are comedians these days so foul-mouthed? But, Tom Lehrer was brilliant, and I was able to go, Tom Lehrer wasn't allowed to come to Australia because he was seen as so edgy and disgusting. So the game has changed.
Yeah.
But I'm doing what Tom Lehrer did. I'm pushing the boundaries of what you're allowed to say. Like, I might not be as good as him, but
well, I mean, your Pope song was maybe a tad more explicit than his was, but
tiny bit, but same game.
Yeah. That's what you were saying earlier. I think the thing about like what is sacred to some people, or just because certain people find one thing sacred, doesn't mean it's like immune from like study or criticism or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I even believe that, but I do think liberalism, when I was growing up, progressivism was about like fuck the conservative, people who police tone and police behaviour and, this is filth and this is perversion and you're not allowed to be gay, you're not allowed to dress in these clothes, you're not allowed to say these words. We're liberals. We say it all. That we say the unsayable. It's about pushing boundaries and making people check their expectations. And
there was a moment where I felt like there was a real switch like when I was working here, when I had to do a story about a group of students got really upset about Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side because they worried it would be offensive to trans people. And that's like, you're fucking joking, right? And then I think his former producer or something was like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's that stupid. And it's the fact that Mary Whitehouse actually tried to stop that song being played on a ballroom dancing TV show or something.
It's actually all the same stuff that Christians used to try and stop.
Yeah. And it's just like
it's a misunderstanding of the Faustian pact of control. If you want a law that says, a particular symbol, an offensive symbol is illegal, you have to understand there will come a time when the government changes and they're conservative and the black power fist on a poster could be illegal. I mean, if there were... you have to understand that I want to say to young people, I say it to my kids who have been brought up in my house, so they're going to be okay, I think, in terms of this conversation anyway, that democracy, living in a multicultural democracy, is at its very core living cheek by jowl, alongside, at peace with people whose ideas you abhor. It's about understanding that it cuts both ways. If you want to control speech, someone else will control your speech. If you want to control bodily behaviours or bodily expression or sexuality, someone else will control yours. If you want to control how people talk about certain things, someone will control. It just will always cut both ways, and you can't rely on your people being in power for the next 50 years, as America has shown.
Yeah.
You put someone who didn't like the Liberals in power. If Trump had British-style powers, he would be calling Black Lives Matter a hate group by now, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But America has an amendment to make sure that doesn't happen. Well, let's see.
Let's see. I feel like I keep chatting forever, but I feel like we should circle back. Also, the reason I didn't want you to think I was being horrendously rude, like what I was going to do at the beginning was so we met for like 2 minutes years ago because you played Swansea University student summer ball.
Oh, amazing.
And so I was like...
I played a summer ball in Swansea?
Yeah, like 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, vague
Singleton
memory.
Park in Swansea. You did look a bit bewildered.
Was I any good?
Yeah, you were great.
Like
but like the
well.
embarrassing thing that I was like, oh God, now I have to show Tim this.
Have you got a photo?
I've got a photo of me.
But not me.
No, well, there are some of you, but then I didn't expect that I was going to find a picture of me, and then it's like literally in the front fucking row.
How cute are you?
It's mortifying, but yeah.
It's not mortifying. It's an amazing photo. Lean into that. Put it on the...
Now I'm going to get them to make like an insert, so like the whole, everyone listening couldn't see what I'm just showing you, but yeah, having the time of my life. Yeah. But anyway, I was just kind of like... trying to see if I could find any pictures of that performance to jog my own memory.
My memory is just
I saw that. I didn't even remember because I was drinking a lot, I guess. But like, I didn't remember I was like in the front row.
I don't remember the gig at all.
Screaming along to Rock and Roll Ned. Yeah.
It'll come back.
It's a great town. That was where I started scamming my way into gigs for free and stuff, and like knowing all the managers and you kind of experienced that firsthand of like doing things not the professional way, which would be to go through your PR and say, can I interview you? It was like to grab my friend who was organising the whole event and be like, can you bring Tim over for 2 minutes?
I'm fine with all of that.
Yeah, good.
Love it.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, album. So what are you working on next?
I'm going to go home. I've got my Australian leg of Songs the World Will Never Hear in October, late October. And between now and then, I'd like to get a good chunk of songs written for a new musical that I'm hoping that will float.
And can you not
allowed
talk about
to
it,
talk
isn't
about
there?
it. Well, just because
That's fine.
I don't think I'm allowed to, but
it's that thing of like if it doesn't,
we're not quite sure who the creative team is,
Yeah.
and there's an international part to it, so I need I need to work with someone who's from that culture, so I'm
Okay.
not trying to compose with those instruments and
Oh, cool.
like not in a box ticky way, like in a genuine way.
No, but from a, like,
I
you need an expert, basically,
Yeah,
right?
I need an expert, and I need that expert to be empowered appropriately, but I need to be in control because it's a musical.
Sure
And
thing.
that's the main thing is about how you tell story. It's not really about so much about musical authenticity. It just has to be both. And so they're like you can almost guess. No, you can. But it's there's a bit of complexity in it, but I'm just going to write some songs and see how we feel about it.
Yeah. I know it's going to be your 25th wedding anniversary next year.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
2002?
Yeah.
2002, the year after.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, that line of
Yeah.
questioning's fucked
Yeah.
then, isn't it?
I'm good at marriage,
But-
you're bad at maths.
Yeah. But though, I mean, it was just interesting because I think there's been all this, like my friend literally just wrote a piece for the Indie about women are too eligible now for men. And just the whole kind of like state of relationships at the moment seems a bit fucked. But
There's a lot of really interesting stuff there. I mean,
I just feel like you have a really interesting perspective as someone that's been married and like not even just married, like in a relationship for as long as you have.
yeah, I just got lucky on several levels. One, I'm being brought up in a conservative, not politically, but socially conservative, it's not the right word, traditional sort of. You know, I've got lots of first cousins. Both Sarah and my parents are still together. Well, were when my mum died, and all my siblings. You know, there's not a lot of. Oh, actually, there's divorces in the family, but it's just the nuclear family in the old-fashioned way has been modelled for me, and I don't think it would matter that I'm straight or gay or whatever. The idea of a monogamous partner and to have kids if you want them and build a little unit. I've no. That seemed seductive to me. Some people are like, I don't want that because it was so horrific in my life, you know.
Right.
But
But you kind of had like a good role model, kind of like
amazed.
growing
Like
up.
my dad's a beautiful man, and my mum was beautiful, and they're just passionately like, this is the family, and you treat each other with respect, and we are you are each other's. You know, we were brought up fiercely, the four of us kids, to be like each other's. I mean, they didn't. I don't know how they did it, but we are very. You know, I'll get off this thing, and an hour and a half will have gone by. So unless they're in bed, there'll be 20 messages across all the threads of my family. You know, and my dad was with my mum 50 years, and his dad before him, and it's just worked. And so I met Sarah as she was my first partner, proper partner, first girlfriend, and we were together for a couple of years, and then we broke up for a couple of years, and I fell in love with another girl, and that was really nice. That sort of folded as Sarah kind of decided she didn't like not being with me. I mean, she dropped me, but then with a couple of years, she sort of didn't like that I fell in love with another girl. So Fiona made her realise that she didn't want that anymore. And we got back together, and we spent lots of time apart over the years, but she's just my mate, and I fancy her, and we're so different. We're not necessarily intellectually the same people. Our brains do not work at the same pace at all, except that, well, not in the same sort of style of pace or something. We make each other laugh. And then suddenly everything changed when we were 30, and she was just about, you know, we'd had a pregnancy and we were trying to get pregnant again because we lost the first one. And in the middle of that, I went from, well, somewhere, there's a sort of, somewhere in my late 20s, I started getting a lot more attention, and the power of who I was in the world changed. I even kind of got thinner and grew into my face a bit, and people really paid me a lot of attention. And two lucky strokes there. One, I didn't let that get to my head because somewhere deep down I had those values instilled. And because we were trying to have a baby, I was sort of locked in. And two, she just was fine with the change. And so suddenly we're living in London and doing red carpets and stuff, and she just happens to be the person who was okay with that. And that could have gone horribly wrong, and there's no reason why it didn't, except that our personalities both adjusted reasonably. And then we had kids, and one of our kids has been had tough years in her teenage years, and that keeps you together. And then you feel like you've survived something together, and we're so proud of our kids now, and that keeps you together. And I was out with a friend in her late 30s, a woman I absolutely adore, who's someone, she's not here to talk about, so I won't name her, but someone that you'd know.
Okay.
I love her so much, and I fancy the pants off her, and she's in her late 30s, and it's dire. But why is it dire, and what does that mean about how she sees the world, and why are we comfortable with men being so sneered at in this particular generation, and is that helpful? And
well, it's interesting you were saying about like the kind of intellectual differences and stuff, because one of the things that came up in this article was that like the women have surpassed men in terms of higher education and everything,
and we're not doing anything about it,
right? And like, but then like I think maybe there is some kind of like snobbery still about, you have to be like intellectual equals, which like how do you even measure that in a relationship? Like, do you have to take like some kind of
nonsense? I mean,
weird
you don't want to
old school aptitude test?
Yeah, that's right. But also, the stats in America that men are underperforming women academically more than women were underperforming men in the 70s. And in the 70s in America, they noticed this and put millions to hundreds of millions of dollars into changing it.
And
it's going unbelievably quickly in the other direction, and no one's doing anything. Almost like the assumption is, that's just because men are dumber, but it won't be. It's cultural. It's just the opposite culture.
Yeah. And
so we need to fix it, and no one's doing anything about it, because men, unemployed men with no narrative of pride are unbelievably dangerous. Pride, any population with their pride stripped from them is broken. We know that as colonial Australians. You take pride and story from people and you will break them. And men had all these narratives: nationalism, God, military, might, strength, primary care, primary breadwinner, blah, blah, all these stories which the progressive, lefties like me have gone, deconstruct all those, nationalism's poison.
It could also, I think it's that thing of going, and we will wrap up things.
Come on, we're just starting.
No.
We're just starting.
I mean, you've got to go. I'm fine. I'm technically bunking off the rest of my job, which is great. But no, it just kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with, the binaries on social media, I think, of, and I think you've spoken about this quite a lot, which is, you're never going to persuade someone to your way of thinking or, your logic or your viewpoint by shouting at them racist, homophobe,
never once
prick,
in the history
whatever.
of the world has ever come across because they were told they were a bigot.
Yeah, but this is why I used to kind of stick around on Twitter, because actually, the amount of the amount of misogynist insanity that would get hurled at. But actually, if I stuck around and actually engaged in someone, and then I mean, it's still
and they would see you as a human. You just have to hold yourself up as a human.
Yeah.
I've had amazing moments on Twitter, and I totally know what you mean, because that was one of the hard things about leaving is if you learn, but it's better just to ignore it.
Well, this is the thing, because you'll just destroy yourself in the process. I think
part of what you
learned
when you were on Twitter, if I may talk like an uncle to you, or just phrase this as a question that sounds like a statement. Is it not the case that part of what you learned on Twitter, when someone was horrible to you and you went, hold on, I'm a person and this is my job, and you just said this horrible thing to me that made me feel this way, and they go, oh, I'm ashamed. They wouldn't use that word, but they basically say, I'm ashamed. It's just banter. This is how everyone talks to each other. I didn't think of you as a person. What you've learnt is that the hate wasn't ever real. The way we hate each other on Twitter and the things I've been called, that so profoundly do not gel with how I see myself. And that's when people really turn on you. If you tell them they're something that they don't think they are, you've lost them forever.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, just don't be there. Don't be there to witness the hate, which isn't real hate, because it feels like real hate. That's why I got off. It felt to me like real hate. I got off eventually after like 4 days of not sleeping or eating. And for me to not eat takes a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
When I got caught up in a pile-on where I got misquoted, blah, blah, blah.
Was that recent or a long time ago?
2 years ago,
right.
when I finally got off and I deleted everything. And I, much to my surprise, have never gone back.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't miss it once you're not on there, do you?
No,
Because it's not
right.
like, I don't know.
I sort
it's
of
like
do.
giving up wine or something.
I miss knowing what my friends are doing and where the gigs are, and it's hard. It's actually a real loss. It's actually strange. But I just realised that I couldn't, in the moment, contextualise the fraudulence of that hate. Those people don't actually want to hurt you as much as you are hurt by them.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, you can either spend your time going, I don't think you wanted to hurt me as much as you hurt me, and try to educate them, or just leave the space. All they want to do is just go straight to the thing that they think will cause you hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's meaningless because they don't know you, but it fucking works. And I want you not to ever have to read it again.
That's that was like partly the leaving Twitter, although actually, like, to be honest, it just got really fucking boring because it was just...
Oh my God, now it's...
It used to be fun. I don't know, yeah. Like,
that
was
remember
the thing,
when
like,
it was fun and we thought it was going to save the world? Humans don't deserve good things.
Oh, we deserve good things, just...
we deserve music and live gigs.
Maybe we just shouldn't have social media anymore.
It's coming. The kids will just not believe what we did.
Yeah.
The kids will be like... looking at the screen will be like smoking. It's happening. All the data's coming in, being around humans, looking after your body as you see fit, like trying to just be healthy, hanging out with other humans, and fucking there's one other thing like fresh air or some shit. Like
something, that's something important like that. Yeah.
That's it's just like at no point do phones make you better.
No.
Except that someone will justifiably comment on this podcast. I'm a disabled person. That's where my community lies and stuff. But and that will be true. But what I want for those communities who can't get out so easily and all that, and that is a lot of my fan base, by the way. I have an amazing fan base of neurodivergent and chronically ill and disabled people who it's one of my proudest things. But I want those communities to be healthy communities where arseholes can't get to them and they can't hear hate, and that's perfectly possible. We all think
well,
these
it's at your
algorithms,
shows, isn't it? Like that's where they go. So
that's where they go. And my Minchkins, my fan
is that where they go?
Facebook page, they're so cute. But it is a unbelievably supportive place for people who like my work, and they're incredible on this tour. One of my fans who's barely been out of the house for years, and kind of her mum and she care for each other because there's a lot of illness and disability. My community have enabled her to come to one of my concerts. Now she's been to like 8 things, and they all go, who's going to meet Anne and where, and like they are unbelievable. That's lovely. My fans, yeah.
Amazing. And then then you're off on tour in Australia.
Then I'm off on tour in Australia, and then next year I'm going to write a lot. I've got a play I want to do. I've got Artful Dodger Season 2 coming out, which is just an acting gig, which I love.
It sounds fun. What's your character's name?
Oh, Darius. Darius Cracksworth.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I just like play a bad guy and I do this. And I'm like, what's that accent? I don't know. I'm bad. It's my bad guy accent. Where are you from? I'm from all over the place. Bit of Stephen Graham.
Somewhere east of somewhere. Yeah,
a bit of David Julius, who's also in the show, so I shouldn't have stolen his accent.
Oh my God. Honestly, I feel like I could keep talking for ages, but your publicist is still sitting outside, wine next time.
Wishing I didn't talk about anything other than my music.
It's fine.
It's all in there. If you want to know what I think, it's in all my songs.
Yeah.
God, he's so handsome.
Yep. Amazing. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.